The UConn women are Hockey East champs. Tia Chan's the MVP. The NCAA tournament is on tap, and the men await their matchup in the Hockey East tournament. This is a jammed hockey edition of Locked On UConn.
You are Locked On UConn, your daily podcast on the UConn Huskies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Wednesday and welcome back to another episode of Locked On UConn. I am Matt Schonvisky, a two-time graduate, 12-year credentialed media member, and host of the only daily UConn sports podcast, Locked On UConn, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports podcast network in the world. Please hit the like and subscribe button, and thank you for making this your first listen each and every single day. On today's show, I will start with women's hockey, who won the Hockey East Championship on Sunday in front of the largest Hockey East Championship crowd at Toscano. Then, Tia Chan took home MVP and will lead the Huskies into the NCAA tournament as that play opens on Thursday. And finally, the UConn men finish as the 3 seed in the upcoming Hockey East tournament as they await their opponent. We'll take a look at the Hockey East bracket, talk through their path as well. But first, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. So Sunday saw the UConn women, hockey women, grab a trophy as they once again won the Hockey East Tournament Championship. 2-1 winners, double overtime over Northeastern. The game kept going and going and going. It was entertaining. It was low scoring, but it was entertaining, edge of the seat action, and it was in front of a packed house as UConn and Northeastern, the teams that were 5 and 6 in the nation entering, battled at Toscano Ice on campus in Storrs. Packed house. More than 2,100, almost 2,200, I think it was the final attendance amount. Shattered the old record. I think it was 1,700. Just what UConn's built with the women's hockey program. And the men's too. We're going to talk about the men in the third segment. But what UConn has done after building Toscano, a beautiful, pristine, state-of-the-art ice hockey arena. I know when it was first built, there was some angst among the fan base of, is the building big enough? We're still going to split time in Hartford. Listen, you get close to 10,000 in Hartford when you play in Boston College and those. So yes, some of the big games, and every now and then throwing a game in Hartford. Yes, absolutely. You're going to get draws. But the size of the arena that they put together, it creates packed houses, great environments, and demand as well. That, hey, not everybody can get their hands on tickets. I know, because I tried. Throughout the entire season on the men's side, trying to get tickets on campus, you could not find 2 tickets together the entire season. We had to wait until Hartford so I could bring my son or my daughter. Me and my son went to and checked out the Hockey East Championship game with the women on Sunday. And the atmosphere was great. I'll just throw this up real quick because short clip just shows the atmosphere, shows the crowd, shows the building. Spectacular.
That's packed.
Just a great environment on a Sunday afternoon. Again, packed house. And this is how you build fan bases, because in that arena, a lot of youth hockey, and UConn's done a great job. My son's, he's only 4 years old. He's in his 3rd session right now of learning to skate. And once he is on skates, he just turned 4 in February. He's going to start taking part in the Learn to Play program that is hosted on campus at Toscano. And it's a great way to build a fan base, to build interest in hockey. which is obviously a hotbed. When we talk through NCAA tournament, you're going to notice something. The region of the country that's represented in the women's NCAA tournament. And then when we get to the men's side, ultimately after this weekend, or I think it's going to be 2 weeks, we'll see as well the region of the country that's represented in the men's side of the NCAA hockey tournament as well. This region, it's a hockey hotbed. We all know that. It's why UConn invested the money to build an arena like Toscano. And what has that led to? Success. Success, success, success across the board. The UConn women's hockey program did not used to be competitive. Far from it. But what they've done and what they've invested, and head coach Chris McKenzie in his 13th season has propelled them to the top of Hockey East, which on the men's side, we all know, is the most competitive hockey conference in the nation. On the women's side, it's very strong as well. We'll look at the NCAA tournament and see what programs are represented, what conferences are represented. We know who it's going to be. Big Ten, highly represented. We'll show that in the second segment. But on the women's side, you're probably talking about the second best conference in women's hockey. And UConn, just like they do in every sport, I want to make this clear, just like they do in every sport, when they invest the time, when they invest the money, when they invest the resources, they invest in the facilities, you build winners at the University of Connecticut. It doesn't matter whether it's basketball, baseball, softball, hockey, men's and women's. And now we're seeing, once again, what they're doing on the football side. Because, yes, was there a downtime at one point in time? For a long stretch of time with football. Of course, there's a lot that went into that. Dropping off from the Fiesta Bowl run and all that success that they had in the 2000s. But even football, you can show. You invest the time. You invest the money. You invest the resources. You invest the facilities. You build a stadium. And you play top-notch competition in a BCS conference. UConn rose to the top. Multiple BCS championships. Conference championships. And you're seeing it again on the hockey side. It was only a matter of time. The second time the UConn women have won Hockey East. I think it's second time in 3 years. And Chris McKenzie does not get enough credit for what he's put together, for what he's built. And it was such a fun environment as well. And the success that they had. And the game was great. The game was great. UConn went up 1-0 in the second period. Northeastern came back and tied. It was 1-1 after 2. No score after 3. First overtime came and went. There were chances. UConn hit the crossbar in the first overtime. They were aggressive in the first overtime, first half of that. And then Northeastern really dominated play. And Tia Chan, we're going to talk about her in the second segment, but she was really the reason why UConn was able to hang on. Because I think it was at the end of the first overtime, or it was the end of the second period. I can't remember exactly when. But Northeastern faced a 2-on-0. Northeastern had a 2-on-0 breakaway. And Tia Chan shut the door. And there's a reason why she's the only goalie up for National Player of the Year as a finalist, top 10. Because of what she's meant to this program in the performance that she had. With 57 saves. 57. Building upon her already school record. She had 25 wins entering. She now's got 26. Shattered the old record. I think it was 18 was the previous high. She got 26 wins on the season. I mentioned she had 57 saves in the first and second overtime, in the 2 overtime periods. And it wasn't even a full second period because UConn scored and game ended. She had 33 saves. 33. We're going to talk about it in the second segment. But UConn took the game 2-1. Kyla Josefovic. Game winner. 4:37 left in the second overtime. Sent Toscano into a frenzy. Which, if you rewind 5 years ago and said, hey, it's going to be a packed house in a brand new arena on campus in Storrs. Hockey East record attendance. UConn takes their second Hockey East tournament championship in 3 years. If you said that to somebody 5 years ago, it just speaks to how UConn bleeds success and why it's only a matter of time for this athletic department. On the other side, we will talk about Tia Chan. We will talk about her performance throughout the entire tournament, her performance in the game, and look ahead to the NCAA tournament, which opens up on Thursday.
I'm Clea Butler, host of Locked On Women's Basketball, and this is Mazda's Women's Basketball Snapshot, celebrating the work no highlight reel can ever capture. Texas won its first ever SEC championship on Sunday, beating South Carolina 78-61 and snapping the Gamecocks' 3-year run as SEC tournament champions. In the Big Ten championship, UCLA dominated Iowa 96-45. The 51-point margin is the most lopsided title game in Big Ten tournament history. With a resume that includes 18 Quad 1 wins and one of the toughest schedules in the country, UCLA is making a serious push for the overall #1 seed. But UConn has held that spot all season and remains the nation's only unbeaten team. These moments are earned off the clock, those long before the lights ever come on. The sweat, the fakes, the doubt, the scrapes, and coming back for more every time. Mazda puts that same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment, putting in the work, that defines you. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you.
Today's episode is also brought to you by Game Time. The biggest stretch of the college basketball season is almost here. Buzzer beaters, bracket busters, and those unforgettable moments that everyone's talking about the next day. Being there live for something like that, that's bucket list stuff. The hard part is always actually getting tickets. Long queues, prices jumping around, and surprise fees at checkout. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage with constant innovation. It's how you unlock amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. It's incredibly simple to use. The Game Time guarantee means 100% legitimate tickets delivered on time at the best price. And here's the best part. Fees are included in the price you see. What you see is what you pay, period. The seat view feature is a game changer. You see a panoramic view from your exact seat before you buy. Zone deals let you pick the section and save even more while Game Time selects the seats. No stress, no guesswork, just a smooth experience from start to finish. That's exactly what you want during the busiest part of the season. Take the guesswork out of buying college basketball tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Back in on this Wednesday edition, hockey edition of Locked On UConn. My screen went dark. I'm still here. We're still recording. We're pushing on. Hopefully, we're still recording here. If you've been thinking about joining the Everyday Club, now is the time. Again, you get ad-free shows and access to our group chat on Discord. And if you're signed up before the NCAA tournament tips off, you can get into our Everyday Club bracket pool on Discord for a chance to win Locked On merch. Should be a lot of fun. Right now, you can use code MARCH. That's capital MARCH to get your first month free. Head to lockedonyukon.supercast.com or tap the link in the show notes to participate. All right, switch back in on our second segment here on this Wednesday edition of Locked On UConn. We're still talking women's hockey. Tia Chan, MVP of the tournament. Obviously, I ran through the stats, ran through the numbers, 57 saves, school record 26 wins, 33 saves in the 2 overtimes. Obviously, carried the team throughout. And she's carrying the team right into the NCAA tournament. And the day after the Huskies took home the Hockey East crown, the bracket was revealed. So let's take a look. Game starts Thursday. UConn's in action Thursday night. They'll play Princeton in University Park In-State College, the home ice of Penn State. Game puck drops 7 Eastern time, can be streamed on ESPN+. So UConn, who finished the year 27-8-2, takes on Princeton of the Ivy League, 23-10. For a shot to take on Penn State, Saturday the 14th, it would be at 2 p.m. If UConn gets by Princeton, they'll play Penn State for a trip to the Frozen Four, which will also take place on campus at Penn State. So UConn won't have to travel anywhere. They will travel back to UConn and then back to State College, obviously. They won't hang out. Well, maybe they will. I don't know. I don't know how the women's hockey program's set up, but that's the path that UConn has. UConn Penn State Thursday. They would play the number 3 overall seed Penn State on Saturday, and then it'll be a trip to the Final Four. And I talked about in the first segment how Hockey East is the top conference, or one of the top conferences in women's college hockey. You can see here who owns that reputation. And you can see the region of the country. It's all upper Midwest, Northeast. It's all the teams. And you've got 3, count them, 3 teams from the state of Connecticut. Yale's in, Quinnipiac's in, UConn's in, Northeastern from up in Massachusetts in, Princeton in, Minnesota Duluth in, and then the top 4 seeds are all Big Ten. Ohio State is the number 1, Wisconsin the 2, Penn State, like we said, is the 3, and Minnesota is the 4. So you got 4 from the Big Ten. You've got 2 from Hockey East. You've got 2 from the Ivy League. And Quinnipiac, forgive me, I don't know what hockey league they're in, but they're in. And then you got Minnesota Duluth as well. That's your bracket. You got 11 teams in the women's hockey tournament. UConn's 2 steps away from the Frozen Four. So it's something that we'll be monitoring. We will watch, obviously, the game on Thursday night. Same time as the men's basketball team. But we will recap the game and have full coverage because it is the NCAA tournament. And the women had a spectacular showing, spectacular season, and deserve the coverage, and deserve the publicity, and deserve to be talked about. So we will do so here on Locked On UConn. As we continue on today's Wednesday episode, we're going to switch gears to the men's side. They wrapped up their season with a loss at Providence on Saturday. They got their highest seed heading into the Hockey East tournament they've ever had. That's how much success they're having. We'll talk about that on the other side. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you could put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action, so when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now, I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood, now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trading involves significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered futures commission merchant and swap firm. Today's episode is also brought to you by Indeed. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for. Skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Back in on this Wednesday edition of Locked On UConn, and we are switching gears to the men's side of UConn hockey as they wrapped up their regular season this past weekend with the loss at Providence. But with everything else that transpired that day, UConn enters with the 3 seed in the Hockey East tournament. It's their highest seeding ever heading into the Hockey East tournament. Previous high was 4. And they will get going. Let's bring up the bracket. They await the winner of BU and Vermont, who I believe play either tonight or tomorrow. We'll be watching, obviously, to see exactly who UConn will face. But UConn gets into action in the quarters. They will host at Toscano, 1 p.m. on Saturday, either BU or Vermont. They are, like I mentioned, the 3 seed, their highest ever seeding entering into the tournament. And getting a bye is huge because they get home ice. And we just talked about it. We talked about what transpired on the women's side, how packed that building was. You know it will be absolutely packed for the men's tournament this Saturday at 1 p.m. The other top seeds in this, the others to receive a bye, you got Providence as the number 1 overall seed. UMass, they get the 2 seed. UConn's the 3, BC, the 4, and Maine's the 5. How I see this playing out, UMass has been great all year. If UConn can get by BU, Vermont, I think the seeding holds. You get UConn, UMass as the second semifinal at the Garden in Boston on the 20th. It'll be a Friday night. On the other side, Providence is they're a juggernaut. I'm not going to lie. They are the top seed for a reason. We'll see if BC or Maine advances. I think it's Providence in the championship. I think you got UMass in the semis. If you can get by that, you're playing Providence in a rematch in the championship game. And UConn did beat Providence in a shootout one time this year. They also have lost twice. So that's the path for the UConn men. Mike Cavanaugh, come back on camera. Mike Cavanaugh has done a spectacular job with the UConn men's hockey program. We know that. They've been to the Hockey East tournament final twice have lost both times. They've gotten beyond the quarters twice. When they've done so, they've won in the semis and have advanced to the final. All time, they're 5-13 in the Hockey East tournament. They've made the Hockey East tournament 9 times. And they've only gotten past the quarters, like I said, twice. But they're set up to do it again this year because they've got home ice as the 3 seed. And like I said, we'll take on BU or Vermont for a trip to the Garden up in Boston for championship weekend. The team, listen, Ryan Tattle, I saw him. I watched the game against Providence. Went back and watched it. Tattle, oh my. He had the one goal they had at Providence. Spectacular play where he got, I think he just crossed the blue line, got into the slot, and just pinpoint accuracy, top shelf, top right side, beat the goal. I believe it was glove side. Pinpoint accuracy. I think it was his 13th goal of the season. One of the leading scorers for the men's hockey team this year. They enter, yes, with the loss, but they've played well. They've played well, and they're top 15 in the nation. And by all accounts, one win in the Hockey East tournament will get UConn an auto bid to the NCAA tournament. But to really secure a spot, let's win 2. Let's win 2. You got to win, though, this Saturday. Whether it's BU, whether it's Vermont, UConn's got to come out on top. Because if they don't, I think they're on the outside looking in. They got a small percentage based on prediction markets to make the NCAA tournament if they don't win in the quarters. But their probability to make the tournament jumps exponentially if they make it to the semis. And then if they go to the final, they're going to be in. Remove all doubt, win their first ever Hockey East tournament championship. Let's do it. Let's do it. We got the women on Hockey East bringing home a trophy. We've got the women's basketball team that just won on Monday night the Big East championship. The men tip off their run in the Big East tournament on Thursday. Let's just sweep. Let's get both hockeys. Let's get both basketball titles, conference tournaments. And then let's see what plays out when it comes. Because if you think back to, and I know I'm getting a lot more viewers right now, January 1st, I put out a show talking about New Year's predictions. What's going to transpire? And I talked about a team outside of the traditional basketball teams is going to take home a national championship this year. And I said it's going to be either one of the men or women on the hockey side. How great would it be for this athletic department if that actually transpires? How great would it be for this athletic department if you get something on the hockey side and then your basketball teams play up to their true potential? What the talk around the nation could be about UConn athletics. And listen, there's a conference. We talked about it. I'll bring it back up. The NCAA tournament. On the women's side, there's a conference out here that invests a lot in hockey. Just saying. Just saying. We'll talk about that another day. But for today, that's all the time we've got on this hockey edition of Locked On UConn. It's tournament time. And we will be focusing on hockey here on this show as we go forward, as we kick off the women's NCAA tournament, as the men begin Hockey East play on Saturday. And then if there's a season beyond that on the men's side, we will, of course, have full coverage. But for today, thanks for tuning in to today's episode of Locked On UConn. Make sure you subscribe and follow Locked On UConn on social media so you get all the latest episodes. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. And as I mentioned, register in for the Bracket Tournament Challenge with code MARCH, M-A-R-C-H. You can do so on lockedonucon.supercast.com, where you can get ad-free, members-only Discord access. Again, head to lockedonucon.supercast.com to join the club. We're not just a basketball school. We know that. We're an everything school. And we just talked 30 minutes on UConn hockey. We will continue to do so here as we close the season and enter into postseason play. Men's basketball coverage. We will also preview tomorrow's UConn quarterfinal game in the Big East tournament. Big East tournament men's side tips off today. This afternoon, there's 3 games. UConn will find out their opponent. I still think it's going to be Marquette. We'll preview that. We'll be back later tonight, with full coverage on the basketball side. Until then, see ya!